guess, I'm going to do 2 Rotary minutes. The first one is about a month ago, I was at a doctor's who's a specialist, and we were just talking and chit-chatting, and I learned that his father had been the president of the Rotarian Club in the Dominican Republic, and that before they could have a club there, someone from Rotary International Central Office had to go to meet with the Prime Minister or President, someone in Dominican Republic, to get permission for more than 3 people to meet together. Because at that time, in that country, they were not able to congregate. So I think we should be very grateful that we are able to assemble together. That's my first Rotary minute. My second one is Mark keeps reminding me almost every day, if not every week, that his term is almost up and that mine is starting. Now, I don't know what he's trying to convey with that, but starting July 1st, we will have a new board of directors and we will have a new president, and we are in the process of establishing committees and that. So, this is your opportunity to volunteer, to say something that you would like us to do next year, or to change. If Mark is just doing something that just doesn't get it, maybe you can make me do it right. So, thank you. And thank you, Chris.
Moving right along with our announcements, as many of you know already, we have a number of rock stars in this club. Scott Gales and Architect One sponsored lunch today, so they bought our lunch today. And Scott's going to be up a little bit. His team were the lead designers on this building, and they're going to share with us the vision that went into designing this world-class facility prior to TCALC actually being our program for day 2. So we have a rich program for you in just a minute starting. Before that, our 2019 Rotary District Conference is coming up. It's Follow the Yellow Brick Road to Inspiration. It will be awesome. April 26th and 27th. If you've never attended, there is still a chance to attend for half price. That's a $69 fee for the weekend. You also are able to attend just Friday night fun, or parts of Saturday when you register. And so you can register for as little or as much of the conference as you want. And I would really encourage you. I've heard that we're going to be one of the first large conferences that the Cyrus is doing, and our former First Lady has a comment.
Correction on the $69. That is for first time attendees.
Right. If you've never attended before, that's for first time attendees.
Not for everybody.
Correct. Thank you. The registration deadline for the conference is April 12th, so that is fast approaching. That is in 8 days. We have a proposed new member, Norma Juma. She is sponsored by Monique Pittman-Louie, and she is a professor of strategic management at Washington University. She may be joining us here just a little bit later, so we're going to ask her to stand so you can all welcome her application and her to the club as well. Veronica Teitgeber or Dina Sattler, either of you here today? Didn't see her earlier. Okay, awesome. With that, Scott Gales, you're on. You've got 5 minutes to share with us your vision for this beautiful building, and then we'll get off onto our program and an exciting tour. So, Scott.
Well, I'm going to save all the excitement of how the facility works and what you're going to get to experience by being here for Dr. Morrell. But I just wanted to, first of all, thank all of you for coming today. We're humbled that you consider a space like this worthy of a place to host Rotary events. I think it's also amazing that our public school system made this level of commitment in order to provide an educational opportunity for, really the next generation of students who will be leading our community for us. So to their credit, they had a vision. Our team at Architect One, and I want to give a shout out to Matt Charvet at KBS. They led our build team. It was exciting to work with them to bring this idea to reality. Mike Wilson and Cassandra Taylor, who are my business partners at Architect One, I want to give them a little bit of respect here in that they're with the South Rotary Group and couldn't be here today, but they were intimately involved from the beginning of this project to the day we turned the keys over to the public school system. And I just remember, we were, it's interesting, on the 18th of April, I think you're going to be at the Cyrus. At the same time this project was starting the creative side, we were simultaneously doing the creative side on the Cyrus Hotel. So we had two major projects underway under our office, and we were keeping everybody busy. So while we talked every day about everything, Mike would come back from his meetings and I would come back from mine, and we would collaborate on what we were learning that day. And I just remember after the project had started and construction was underway, and Mike came back with a smile on his face, and he was sharing how I guess our build team had discovered a family of skunks on the premises and found a way to carefully encourage them to relocate safely so that their team could continue on with the work. So it's not every day that we have residents that are at least initially not eager to leave. And so fortunately for us, they gave up their space to take what was the height of the Cold War era building that had basically outlived its usefulness, and for all intents and purposes really was not a functioning space to educate anyone, let alone future generations. Took that facility, basically almost increased it by 50%, and created what really is a world-class facility. So kudos to Dr. Merle and the Topeka Public Schools, and thank you to all of you for the opportunity to be here. So enjoy your day.
Thank you, Scott. Let's give him a little round of applause for our sponsor lunch today as well. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Mike Morrison. He is going to introduce our speaker and program today. Dr. Morrison, we want you to know that we're proud of your South Rotarian membership, and you're welcome to join us anytime as a guest, and this does not count as makeup for Grace, that she is not here today. Mike does a beautiful job of shining light in everything he does in this community, and he is actively on the 501 school board. And so I can think of nobody better to introduce our speaker today than Mike.
So since I wasn't introduced as a guest, I assume I'm somewhat of a member of this. But I am a member of the Topeka South Rotary. I want to share just a few seconds from the school board perspective on this facility. When I was on the site council at Topeka High School, I got to the end of that and said to the principal there, now what? Kids are graduating. What are they going to do? We don't have anything set for them to follow up. So since I was elected to the Board of Education 5 years ago, one of my first projects, and I got invited to go to a school system in Kansas City, Blue Valley. And Blue Valley has a place that's very similar to this. And I tell you, the impression that I got there was from the kids. I went in the summer, and there were kids who had graduated who were coming back to that facility to finish projects. So that really, I was very, very impressed just by the kids. I had the privilege today of introducing Dr. Tim Morrell. I told him I wouldn't say anything bad about him. Dr. Morrell is the principal for the Topeka Center for Advanced Learning and Careers. You may hear people talk about TCALC, and that's what it stands for. It took me a year to figure that out. In this role, he oversees career and technical education, or CTE programs, for students across our district. Prior to joining the Topeka Public Schools, he served as a diploma coordinator for the Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools, with responsibility for the district's CTE programs. He has held similar leadership positions in the St. Louis Public Schools, where he was appointed to represent the district on the Workforce Investment Board for the city of St. Louis. Before becoming an administrator, he was an instructor of the Law, Public Safety, Corrections, and Security pathway for Clyde C. Miller Career Academy. Dr. Morrell is a veteran of the U.S. Army, having served as an Air Defense Artillery Tactical Control Officer and as a military police company commander. Additionally, he has taught criminal justice courses at the post-secondary level and served as Director of Public Safety at the university level. Some of his honors include the Shining Star Teacher Award at St. Louis Science Center, the Meritorious Service Medal from the United States Army, the Army Achievement Medal from the Army, and the Army Commendation Medal, also from the Army. He is also, which I think is very significant, an Eagle Scout. He holds a bachelor's degree from the University of the State of New York, Master's of Arts in Human Relations, and Administration of Justice dual concentration from Webster University, a Master's of Arts degree in Educational Leadership from St. Louis University, and a doctorate in Educational Leadership from Maryville University, i.e. went to school a long time. He's married with 2 daughters, 2 grandchildren. Dr. Morrell enjoys traveling, reading, cooking, and Dr. Morrell, anytime you want to try cooking, Grace and I decided we could come over. He also loves listening to good music, which I do as well. So I give you, Rotary Club, Dr. Morrell.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to TCALC. We are really happy to have you here today. So as Dr. Morrison mentioned, we are a part of the CAPS network, and CAPS stands for Center for Advanced Professional Studies, hence our name, Topeka Center for Advanced Careers, Learning and Careers. What we do here is have students come in and try to train them to become young professionals. But we do it in a way that we want them to understand that they are the ones that are responsible for their learning. So later on in my presentation, I'll talk about students leading the learning, because that's what needs to happen in order for education to be the way it should be for these students nowadays. I read an article yesterday from the New York Times, and the heading was, "High school does not have to be boring." Now, I don't know about you, but when I went to high school, it was boring. You know, you went to your classroom, it was sort of like an assembly, you know, in a factory. You go to this class, and you go to this class, you go to this class, times were set, you were told what to do, rote memorization, etc. for most classes. So it was boring. I can't say that I had a bad education, I didn't. It was a great education, but the way it was done, it could have been a whole lot better. Would have opened up my eyes to a lot of things that I had to wait until I was an adult to experience. So at TCALC currently, we offer 9 different programs. And if you'll turn around and see that banner there, you're not going to be able to read those programs, but it lists them. It also lists them in the brochure that's been handed out to you. So we have 9 active programs this year, and next year we will have 11. We're adding 3 additional programs. So can we go to our website? So if a student wanted to come to TCALC, they would have to be on track for graduation, be a junior or a senior in high school, and really want to be involved in one of our pathways. So I'm going to talk a little bit about each pathway. Right now we have the 9, Green Energy and Environmental Science, and that one's going to be on hold at the beginning of this year just because of enrollment. You know, there are a lot of opportunities for students in green energy and environmental science. The problem is they don't see that. You know, it's not, quote, sexy enough for them at this point. So we're going to work on that this next year to see if we can improve on our enrollment strategies. Teaching as a profession. We have a program for students that want to be teachers, and so they don't spend a lot of time in this building. The reason being they want to be teachers, so they want to be in the classrooms with teachers, learning what teachers do, and actually preparing lessons, working with students. So whether they want to be elementary students or teachers, middle or high school, they have the opportunity to work with those teachers. They belong also to a student organization called Educators Rising. So as members of that organization, they compete against other students throughout the state and the nation to, you know, show what they can do, what they have learned, both in the classroom and in their professional learning experience, or the PLE. So we had 6 students who competed at the state level in February, and they placed well enough that those 6 students will be going to Dallas, Texas in June to compete at the national level. We have medical professions. In that particular class or pathway, those students use the Project Lead the Way Biomedical Science program. So they learn about medical interventions and all types of medical and health sciences, and also pharmacology is a part of that pathway. Architecture, design, and construction, kind of self-explanatory, but those students also work with Habitat for Humanity, so they have had the opportunity to go out and actually work on site with Habitat. They get experience here, but then they can actually go out and work on site and see how that applies. Web and digital communication. Some of you may have experienced work that some of our students have done. They have worked with or continue to work with about 15 to 16 different companies in Topeka, either building or maintaining their websites. These are the students that actually maintain the website for Topeka High School. If you've ever been on that website, you realize that it changes almost daily, and so that's a lot of work for them. The great thing about the experience for these students is that they work with the customer, the client. So the client doesn't come through the door and say, oh, we want to talk to Dr. Morrell, we want to talk to Mrs. Hageman as the teacher. No. What you'll see is the client sitting in one of our project rooms. For example, one of those up there, as you look up, there are 3 different project rooms, so the students will be in those rooms with their clients going over some of the issues with their website or some of the things that they want to see in their website, etc. So it's really a good experience for them. Engineering and applied math, those students also work with robotics. Every student in that pathway earns a robotics certification. So they can walk away and go into whatever company they want to that use a similar robotic arm and actually get a job. We also had a student in that particular pathway that competed against 200 other students across the state for a scholarship for Wichita State University in engineering, and he was one of the 12 students that earned the scholarship. So we're very proud of him. In that particular pathway as well, we have 3D printing. Every student that comes to TCALC will learn how to operate a 3D printer. We think that's very important because that particular work, or whatever you want to refer to it as, has just grown exponentially and will continue to grow. So I think it's important that our students have the ability to use a 3D printer. The engineering group actually, when we got the 3D printers in, put them together and then have been in the process of teaching students in other pathways how to use the 3D printers. Baking and pastry arts management, that's our culinary arts program and focus on baking and pastry arts. So if you had been here yesterday or would be coming on tomorrow, on Friday, they actually bake and sell their goods here at the little cafe that we'll talk about or walk by as we tour. But they also have been working just briefly now, but will continue next year or more on a full-time basis to work in Kansas Cafe, which is industrial-sized kitchen where students will get that experience. Each of those students has already earned their Serve Safe Food Handler certificate. Sports medicine, very popular pathway. Students interested in athletic training, physical therapy, occupational therapy, so they are amazing. If you were here to see them work in the classroom, a lot of times you'll see them taping or working with muscles, etc. Right now they're working on their CPR certification, so every student in that pathway will have first aid and CPR certification. Emergency and fire management, we are fortunate that we have As our instructor for that pathway, Chief Greg Bailey, he used to be the chief here for Topeka Fire Department. Those students can earn the national certification for Firefighter 1 and then leave us and go to Washburn Tech to get their emergency services certification. Law and Public Safety is a new pathway that will start in August in conjunction with the Topeka Police Department. As a matter of fact, the police officers will be teaching that pathway, so we're really excited about that. And computer science with an emphasis on programming and software development, which will include as well game design and cybersecurity, and also interactive media technology. Those of you probably saw some of the Highland Park series on television. The same company that produced that particular program has donated quite a bit of equipment to our interactive media technology program. They will be coming in and working with our teacher and also providing internships for our students. So as you can see, there's a lot going on up here at TCALC. We started out small. We started in September with 83 students. Our goal was to get to 100 by January. We actually got about 103, but then some of the students had to either back out because of their schedules or whatever reason. Right now we have 90 students, and the reason we have 90 is because some of those students graduated early, or we would have had closer to that 100 number. Right now we're on track for 200 in the fall, so we feel really good about that. So what do the students think about TCALC? There's a lot going on. They come in, and somebody, or Dr. Morrison mentioned that at Blue Valley, the students came in during the summer working on their projects. What we like is that what we see almost every week, the students not wanting to leave when classes are over, they want to stay and work on their projects, or if they have the opportunity, they'll come early. A couple of students this morning came, their classes start at 12:25 in the afternoon. They had the time, so they came over at 11 o'clock just to work on their projects because that's what they enjoy doing, and it gives them more time. We like that schedule, 2.5 hours in the morning, 2.5 hours in the afternoon, because it does give the students time to really dig deep and get into the projects that they're working on. So about a week and a half ago, I thought, well, what do the students really think about TCALC? We're almost through the school year, so I wanted to meet with the seniors, those that are going to be leaving us, and find out what their thoughts were. If you can bring up those slides. So we had a senior meeting, and the students were very honest. I said, you know, this is really your meeting. Tell me what you think. So what did they like about TCALC? Number one thing on their list was work ethic. You know, they didn't have to worry about going into class, a 45-minute class, and before you know it, they're up and leaving and going to another class. Here they can come in and really get into it. We greet them every time they come in that door, whether it's morning session or afternoon session. They like the fact that we do that. We're treating them as young professionals. They're shaking our hands. They're making eye contact, doing those types of things that, you know, they're going to need to do when they get out in the workplace. They love the hands-on experience, the atmosphere of the building, and just the whole idea of the professional aspect. We like the fact that I talked about earlier, students leading, and that's the whole idea of the CAPS network. So a lot of times you'll see our students leading the work. This particular picture is from a visit of pre-K students, actually younger than that, Head Start students coming here to TCALC to visit the various pathways. So the web and digital communication students were actually working with them. If you can believe this, at that age, these students were learning how to code, which is really terrific. Next slide. The students also like the equipment that's here that we have for them and the various programs of variety. So in this particular picture, you see it's kind of strange to see students working on a 3D printer in a suit. But every month we have what we call a Dress for Success Day because they need to learn how to dress, go out on that interview or go on the job, depending upon what they're going to do. And so we have them do that. These particular engineering and applied math students were setting up the 3D printers that I mentioned earlier. Next slide. Business and industry partners. They like the fact that they're working with business and industry partners. Every program at TCALC has to have what we call an advisory board. Those advisory boards meet a minimum of 2 times a year. They help us determine if we're teaching the right curriculum, if we have the right equipment, if the students are really being prepared for the workplace and for post-secondary education. So Earlier this week, we had folks from Advisors Excel come in and talk to our Web and Digital Communications group. The reason it was Web and Digital Communications is because that teacher has been in the district for 37 years, and 4 of the students that she had are now working in IT for Advisors Excel. So it's a great, great partnership, and they've agreed to come in and continue to work with our students. So they worked, some came in on Monday, another group came in on Tuesday, and they've already exchanged communication about what they're going to do in the future to make sure our students are on the right track. What were the negatives that the students mentioned? Well, there weren't very many, but what they wanted to see was more interaction among pathways. We've had some of that they would like to see more. For example, the 3D printers, the students helping students with other pathways do that. We had students from Web and Digital who actually put together a video for our college prep teachers. So college prep is in this building as well, the 7th and 8th graders from Eisenhower and Chase Middle Schools who are on an accelerated track. They also would like to see more interaction with business and industry. Some pathways have more than others, so we're working on that. And they would like to have more tours in local businesses so they know what's going on in the local community. So with that being said, any questions? Yes, sir.
Is this only open to 501 students, or is it open to other areas?
It's open to county students. They would have to pay tuition. Yes, sir.
I hate to ask you a grandchild, but how would a student take advantage of this program?
So they would go, if they're a 501 student or whatever student, they would actually work with their counselor. They can go online and fill out our application, if you can pull that up. But they can actually go to the 501 site, the listing under schools, TCALC is listed there, and they will go to pull up TCALC, and there's an application very simple to fill out, and we will get that information and contact the student. Yes, ma'am?
Then do they do traditional classes in the other half day?
They do. Their core academics are at their home school, and then they come here for career technical.
And what middle schools did you say were in that program?
In the college prep right now, it's Eisenhower and Chase, but I believe for next year it's open to other schools as well, other middle schools.
Rotary had worked with them on a dress shoot.
Right, I remember that last semester. It was terrific.
We were so impressed with them.
Thank you, yes.
If you're a student, how do you, it seems like you're also torn in the direction of Washington Tech. How are you not duplicative of that, and how are these resources, why don't we have this one program? Why do we need two?
So Washburn Tech, we try not to duplicate, and all of our students are not at the point where they want to go to Washburn Tech. They want to stay within the district if possible. So the students that want to go to Washburn Tech can do that, but we wouldn't have the same program. For example, our emergency and fire management, what we don't have here, they can complete at Washburn Tech, and that will be the EMT portion, but they can't get the fire science here. And other programs are similar, we just don't want to duplicate. But we want to have this opportunity for our students so they don't have to travel all over.
What about the need for transportation from various parts?
We offer bus transportation for the students. Several of them drive, that the bus transportation is offered. Yes, sir.
Is it totally initiated by the student, or is there an outreach to try to encourage maybe lower-income groups or racial minorities, that kind of thing?
So there are a couple of things. We have what we call in the district a program called Career Cruising, and the students take that, an assessment, and it's a career assessment, which gives us an idea of what pathway they might be interested in. And we use that to contact the students and make a list and visit the schools. We also have the students coming in. We've already had well over 400, 500 students, sophomore level, come in this year to tour the various pathways and see what they might be interested in as a junior or senior.
Talk about the career closet.
Oh, he's always wanted me to talk about the career closet, but that's a good thing. Dress for success, I mentioned, we want the students to dress properly, suit, tie, etc. And we also have for them a career closet here in TCALC. So we would gladly accept any donation of clothes that you might want to, do away with rather than give them to Goodwill. We ask that you give them to us.
What is the faculty that you have here in your staffing?
So our faculty are qualified teachers, but they also have experience in the field. So for example, when I taught in St. Louis, I had been a former police officer, as you know, and That was my background. In career technical education, they like teachers to actually have that work experience. So all of our teachers have that.
And how many?
Right now we have 9 for each of the pathways, and we'll have 11 next year.
For each of the pathways?
Right, there's 1 teacher per pathway.
How does how does this program map into the standard curriculum they have to achieve to graduate high school?
So they would be taking elective courses, but a lot of the information in these courses matches what they're doing. For example, if you watch what's happening in sports medicine, a lot of that sports medicine work is anatomy and physiology. In fact, I've learned more by observing sports medicine now as an adult than I learned when I was sitting in that boring high school in anatomy and physiology. So there really is a close tie, and then we work closely with, our colleagues. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
If somebody washes out here and they need to go back to a traditional high school to complete their high school diploma and graduate, do you find that they're ahead, behind, or about even with kids that would be at the same age or at the same point but at traditional school?
Well, I think it's something you would have to look at on a case-by-case basis, because really that's the individual. And a lot of times what you find is the individual's doing a lot better here than in the core academics, because in the core academics, they're bored, they don't want to do it. But then on the other side, you see some students that really understand how the two are integrated, they work together, but that's really a case-by-case thing. Yes, sir?
So how is the funding different in this program versus a traditional classroom?
So 2 streams of funding for here, and that is state funding, vocational funding, but we also are funded in part by the Carl Perkins grant, which is a federal fund. So we have to apply for that grant every year through KSTE, and it's a nightmare. This year it's a new form because Perkins 4 is transitioning to Perkins 5, so it's going to be brand new. So I'll have to go in my office and close the door and bring a cot, because I'll be living there for about 2 weeks while I do that application. It's always not fun. Yes, ma'am.
Forgive me if someone has asked this question already. How do you find your business partners? There's lots of people here that have businesses, and I'm just wondering how that process works.
Okay.
If someone was interested in collaborating with you.
So I'm out and my associate principal, Melissa Seacat, out talking to different groups, just like this one, and we ask people, if they're interested, just to let us know and give them the information about the pathways that we have, and hopefully they will join us as an advisory board member, or offer to have students come to their site either for a tour, job shadow, or an internship. So it's just a matter of contacting us.
If you go on our website, the Engage tab, there's a partner with us.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
This is a way for students to explore the career that they'd like to follow.
Right.
And I'm wondering, is it typical that a student will either finish what they do here and then go to Washburn Tech or go on to college, or do they completely finish preparation for a job?
Some of them can, depending on the pathway, they can finish preparation for a job. What we'll find when we do follow-up, and the state as well as the federal government requires us to do what we call a student follow-up. So after 90 days of, past graduation, they'll ask us what our students doing. In a lot of instances, you'll find the students have gone to college and the military in the same field that they studied while they were here in a career technical program. Or if they didn't, they persist, and the statistics bear this out, that if they've been in a career technical education program for 2 or 3 semesters, they're more likely to persist in college. Yes, sir.
Do you have a separate graduation for seniors?
We do not. We do not. We have a ceremony, if they earn certification, and we, present it to them at that point. In fact, this year it's April 25th, and then their graduation from their school is later on. Yes.
I think there's some confusion. This isn't an alternative to traditional high school. It's an add-on. Everybody's enrolled in a traditional high school.
I call it value-added.
So they're attending their home schools and doing this as a pull-out in addition.
Correct.
Correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. I thought I was right.
And each high school has career technical programs as well, so they're not just at TCALC. Just that here it's an idea that they have more time to work on their projects, and also to get that experience both in the field and have our partners come in and work with them. And they also get the introductory level courses at the high school, hopefully, before they come here. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Ultimately, what will be the capacity of students here? And would you anticipate that you'd have students here from morning to night?
Well, the idea is that in the morning session, which is 2.5 hours, that we hope to grow to about 200, 225 in the morning, and then have an identical number in the afternoon session. We really don't want to grow so that you have more than 20 students in a pathway, because then you have too many students and you're talking about a lot of hands-on activities. So, you want to have space for them to work. It also makes it easier for the teachers to work with them if they're out on internships, which we want to increase.
So how many students you have?
Right now we have 90.
And how many TCALC state of Kansas?
I'm sorry?
How many facilities do you have in the state of Kansas? Similar facilities in the state of Kansas.
Oh, like this one? You have Blue Valley CAPS, and then Andover has a CAPS program. And I'm trying to think of any others right now. I think that's it, just the 3 for Kansas. Nationwide, there are about 50 different CAPS schools in the CAPS network. And there's also one in India, so we're excited the fact that we are part of that network. And there's also a movie, and hopefully I'm going to be able to bring it here, called Where Students Lead, which really talks about the birth of CAPS and how it's growing throughout the nation.
What does CAPS stand for?
Center for Advanced Professional Studies. Any other questions? I probably talked too long. Thank you very much for being here. If you have any questions,
Thank you, Doctor. We have a tradition. We pass on a rotary 4-way testimony. We believe you are embodying those values, and we would ask you to keep this and be encouraged with our respect for your activities. And when you meet someone down the road who also is exhibiting these values, pass it on and encourage them. So we give you that, and then we also donated a book in our speaker's honor. So we ask you to sign the book plate here. This book is Mary Pope Osborne wrote The Magic Tree House. It's number 29 and a big day for baseball. So get that. And in your honor, we'll donate that to Ross Elementary, their public school library there. And Doctor is willing to give tours after, and so just for anybody that needs to run, I know we're approaching 1 o'clock. I wanted to go ahead and close and give you a chance to get on to your next thing if you have a next thing that's pushing you. But if you have time, thank you. Dr. Morrell is more than willing to give tours and answer questions when we're done as well. So if you haven't had a tour yet, I'd encourage you to stay and heard wonderful things about the building from Scott as we were enjoying lunch together too. So with that said, next week's meeting, we are back at the Maynard Conference Center. And the program will be a close service project for Harvesters, so please turn out to help to feed hungry and homeless people in that.
Norma has come, so you can introduce our cluster.
Yes, thank you. Norma Juma, welcome. Thank you for your application. And she's a prospective member, and we're And Dr. Morrell, I'd be remiss if I didn't offer you an application for membership as well. We would love to have you in the club. So with that said, let's rise and say the 4-way test and stay and go on a tour if you have time, please. Of the things we think, say, or do, is this true? Is this fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you. It's fun. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks again, Scott.
It's sure good being with you.